views and opinions expressed within the following program are solely those of the individual. These views and opinions do not necessarily represent those of Shaw TV.
Hey Calgary, I'm Kevin Chorney. It's January 23rd, and this is Calgary Now. There once was a time when childcare meant your mom or your dad would stay at home and take care of you. After school care was your older sibling or a neighbor keeping an eye on you until your parents came home from work. But as it has become increasingly more common for both parents to be working, primarily due to the high costs of living, those options are just not feasible for many working families. As Canadians plan to have children, a primary concern is how much time they'll take off work to raise a newborn and how soon they'll get back to work. It has become commonplace for expecting mothers to put their names down on childcare wait lists mere weeks into their pregnancies to secure a coveted spot. The wait is long though, as it takes years for spots to open up. And once a spot is available, the next hurdle is cost. In Calgary, parents can expect to pay up to $1,000 or more per child per month for childcare. This problem plagues Canadian parents across the country, and its ripple effect concerns all of us, as it has an impact on career choices and our population, as many Canadians are opting to have less children. So what are the solutions? Are there alternatives out there to traditional forms of care? Having children is an expensive endeavor, and we all know we can't stretch a dollar the way we used to. Naturally, for most of Alberta's parents, both mom and dad will find themselves as part of the workforce. But when daycare costs more than one parent's income, or there are no care spots available, then keeping one parent out of the workforce is an easy decision. This isn't good for you, me, or our economy. In fact, it's decisions like this that limit the number of children Albertans are willing to have. Government subsidies are quite frankly not nearly enough, and many parents are growing frustrated. It does not need to be this way, and my guests and I are all set to explore the issue in just a moment here. As always, you can get at us on Twitter at Calgary Now Show and give us your 2 cents. To get the ball rolling, let's hear from the Rant Pack.
I really sympathize with the issue of childcare for parents kind of in Alberta. I think that the idea that one parent needs to stay at home while the other one can go to work is a little bit, I'll use the word again, outdated, just because the demands on running a household economically is, from what I hear, astronomical for those with kids. So I think childcare just needs to become more affordable so that there isn't the pressure to do stay-at-home mom or dad and one person working. I just don't think it's realistic anymore.
Hey Calgary, thanks for joining us tonight. We're happy to have Dr. David Swan, Alberta Liberal MLA, day home operator Bambi Beaton, and Julie Herdlicka from the Calgary Outreach Coordinator for Public Interest Alberta. Everybody, thanks for being here.
Hey Kevin, good to be here.
Julie, real quick, tell me a bit about yourself.
Well, I'm work for Public Interest Alberta,
Yeah.
And I've been working on public policy issues here in the province for a number of years. I have 2 children, Hendrix, who's 4, and Scarlett, who's 2. And when it comes to the issue of childcare, certainly I work with Public Interest on that, but I'm facing those challenges every day as a mom
Absolutely.
who tries to juggle it.
A great fit then.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
How about yourself, Julie?
Bambi?
Bambi, pardon me.
That's okay. I am a single mom and I run a day home. I have for 15 years. I have 3 kids, Ainsley 11, Brooklyn 13, and Logan who's 16.
Cool names.
Yes,
Ainsley,
thank you.
like that.
Yeah, and yeah, that's about it.
Right on, right on. And the good doctor.
Well, I'm married. I'm a grandpa of 7 boys. I have 3 kids. They're all in their 20s, and it's an exciting time for me as both a father, grandfather, and a legislator in the opposition party in Alberta.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think a lot about the changes in our society and a lot of the younger people struggling financially and with trying to juggle many hats.
Oh yeah,
So
definitely. This is cool because this panel is great, guys.
about.
Everyone here seems to have, well, besides myself, I'm childless, but you all have a vested interest. So I think this is good. Thanks again, everybody, for being here. I do want to point out to our viewers, we did extend an invitation to the Calgary and area Child and Family Services, and they declined. So with that in mind, guys, I know there's obviously quite a bit wrong with daycare and childcare in general, which we're clearly going to touch on. But let's start off with what's right with childcare in Alberta currently.
I think there's a stimulus out there and it's being recognized. There's the private sector providing about half the childcare spaces in the province, as I understand it. Half of them are public. There's a subsidy program for women and couples below a certain level of income that's helping provide some of the needed service.
Some, yeah.
Yeah, it's according to the latest census I saw, there are up to 75,000 children who can't readily find a place to find care
More wrong
outside
than,
the home.
than what's right. Yeah, that's
So
a staggering number.
we've got a serious challenge there that we've got to come to grips with.
Bambi, what's right with daycare currently?
I think that there is a lot of people who actually care about the children, who are working with them because of their kindness and what they want to see with the kids and raising them and helping with that. And so I think that's a huge positive that isn't actually explored as much as it should be. That you hear in the news all the stuff that goes wrong and the bad things about childcare and people working in childcare.
Yeah.
And I think they forget that a lot of us are doing it because we love the children.
Yeah, out of passion.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
The childcare workers that we come into contact with are just passionate, compassionate human beings that, for the most part, are in it for the right reasons. And when it comes to the good things that are happening in childcare, I think for me, as a mom, the good thing is people are talking about the fact that we could be doing a lot better.
That's
there
right.
are so many challenges happening, but people are starting to talk about, okay, there's all these pieces that are not adding up and they're not working. And so what can we, as community members, as parents, as grandparents, what can we start doing to move us in the right direction? So that's what I see as being really a positive opportunity right now. We're also seeing the province and the city doing poverty reduction initiatives. Provincially, we've got the Poverty Reduction Strategy and the Calgary Poverty Reduction Initiative.
Yeah.
So these are great opportunities to have that discussion about childcare, because we know that many people are affected by childcare, but certainly those single moms, people that are on the lower end are being affected.
Oh, absolutely.
too.
And and childcare is one of those things where it does end up affecting all of us, either
Yes.
directly or indirectly.
Yeah.
But it's expensive. It's very expensive. Now, how does affordable, available childcare play a role in equality amongst Albertans? You hear that buzzword kicked around a lot, equality.
Yeah, and so many young families now are struggling with the decision of whether to have two earners or whether to have someone stay home and take care of children. That's affecting our productivity as a society, but if a mom doesn't really want to be at home, then we should be doing everything we can to make sure that that child is in a positive atmosphere, a learning atmosphere, and the mom is in a positive working place and financially in a better position as a result of that. So we've got to make every effort to accommodate the changing values and changing needs of our society.
Yeah, some parents just can't stay home with their kids. They can't handle being home that long in an environment like that. They need something a little more challenging, which is also okay. And they may be able to afford it, or they may not. And either way, they still want to be able to have the option to go and do something different. And that's
Would this
one
be,
of the things
an
too.
example, I suppose, to be a parent that would be a student? Is that a fair example?
Sorry, that would want to.
An adult student that's looking
Right.
to further their education, for example.
Absolutely, for sure. Yeah.
So current subsidies cover about half the cost. If you fully qualify for government subsidies, it's about half. Is that about fair? Is that about right?
Yeah, about right, yeah.
Do we think that's enough?
There's a lot of challenges, the subsidies. Like David said, it is able to help some people. The challenge is, if you're a single mom bringing home $2,000 a month, you get a subsidy of $600.
Yeah.
Your child care provider charges $1,100, $1,200. You just think about rent on top of that, and then food and all of those things, and it doesn't add up.
There's no way
right?
that math adds up.
There's no way it adds up. So the subsidy idea, I don't think it's working. The other pieces of it is we're seeing about half and half of not-for-profits and for-profit child homes, and many of the for-profit day homes and are popping up, and they aren't licensed or regulated. So for me, for instance, when I was able to be eligible for funding through the subsidy, I wasn't able to access that subsidy because my day home provider wasn't licensed.
Exactly. It's a
So I had the money, but I wasn't able to go to do that. But I have a wonderful day home provider, and so you have to make that hard choice.
Yeah.
And it's too difficult of a choice for a parent to have to make.
It is.
Is it cost or quality?
Another thing with subsidy too, that I don't know if you're aware of, is that if you are a subsidy recipient and you go to a daycare center, you have to have your child in that daycare center for a certain amount of hours. Yeah. So let's say you have a day off. Well, I know a friend who has a subsidy and goes with daycare. Yeah. She couldn't take her daughter for that day off because she needed to make her allotted hours at the day home to continue with her subsidy.